Hey guys, welcome to today's video where we talk about the 2020 presidential election coming up in November. And as you know, we have Donald Trump, the incumbent, pitted up against Joe Biden, the Democratic Party's pick. And right now, on this map, you can see we have red states marked up versus blue states. And there's no dispute among political commentators that all these states will stay red or blue. And I don't think we should spend time talking about it because the states probably will not change. The one state I will talk about that's marked red, though, however, is Iowa. And Iowa, you may think is probably a swing state, but in reality, I wouldn't consider it to be a quote-unquote swing state in this 2020 election, and here's why. In 2016, Donald Trump won Iowa by a margin of 10%. And here's my logic behind why he'll do it again. People in Iowa and a bunch of other swing states were willing to vote for Donald Trump when he was an unproven man. All he had going for him was that he ran for president a couple times before, but he lost, and he was a businessman. But people still turned out for him. Now that 4 years have passed and he's been in office, people will vote for him again even more. His economic policy has brought benefit to many Americans, myself included. He's lowered the unemployment rate, he's increased wages, and put an America First economic policy that has brought growth and business back home. So Iowa will overwhelmingly go to Trump again in 2020. Now we have unmarked our states that I believe are either swing states or that will turn red again. So we have New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Florida. So first, I'd like to talk about all the swing states and why they will vote for Donald Trump again. So the problem with these swing states is that they're called swing states because they change a lot because the margins for election are extremely small. In Pennsylvania, we have 1.2% margin by which Donald Trump won. In Michigan, we have 0.3% by which Trump won. Wisconsin, we had 1% how Trump won. And lastly, Florida at 1.2%, which Trump again won in 2016. Now, I believe that these states again will overwhelmingly vote for Trump by slightly larger margins than they did this year, and here's why. First of all, one of the major factors is Joe Biden. Joe Biden is a terrible candidate, okay? Let's just be honest. He's gaffed so many times, and he's known by the public as Creepy Joe, Sleepy Joe, and a very touchy person. But not only that, he's had a bunch of terrible moments on stage, right? He's ridiculed voters and constituents and people in the crowds. He's made up fake stories that never happened. He doesn't know what state he's campaigning in. He doesn't even know what office he was running for at one point. And lastly, he confused his wife and sister on stage. That's pretty embarrassing. So if he does all of these things without any competition and at his regular rallies, think about how much more he's going to gaff and mess up on the public stage. And second, Donald Trump will make short work of Joe Biden on the grand stage. Donald Trump, again, I repeat, will wipe the floor with Joe Biden. Here's why. Donald Trump, whether or not you agree with him politically and if you vote for him or not, you have to say Donald Trump is aggressive, brash, and sometimes impetuous. Compile this with Joe Biden's sheer lack of knowledge and just his complete senility. Donald Trump will destroy Joe Biden and go after Joe Biden and just leave no room for Joe Biden to come back and ask questions. I mean, just look at the guy. He's old and senile, and he's gaffed so many times. Now, we're going to look at the states specifically. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Florida. No matter how much Joe Biden is going to campaign there, he doesn't really have anything going for him, except that he campaigned with Obama, and he was Obama's vice president in, 2012. Other than that, that's pretty much he has going for him. Donald Trump has a proven record. He's proven himself and run on his promises and actually completed them. And this is why all of these states are going to turn red or stay red. Now let's look at Minnesota and New Hampshire. So if you look at New Hampshire, Donald Trump lost by a margin of 0.4%. And I believe he's going to be able to win in New Hampshire, even though it's by a very small margin. And here's why. Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Just look at that combination, okay? Donald Trump, proven record. At least I believe, strong leader and an aggressive man. Joe Biden, weak, old, senile, has nothing going for him. And people in New Hampshire are probably going to see that. And if you look at New Hampshire, Hillary Clinton barely won that. Joe Biden, again, is not going to be able to win New Hampshire, and here's why. The Democratic Party is fractured, okay? It's fractured between Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden. Bernie supporters have stated that they don't have an affinity for Biden, and they'll probably either not vote in the primaries or vote for Donald Trump, which seems pretty insane, rather than vote for Joe Biden. And furthermore, if you look at voter apathy and voter trends, people in the Republican Party are more pumped up for Donald Trump. They're more fired up and they're more excited to reelect him again. And if you look at the Democratic Party, it's the exact opposite. People aren't excited. Voter excitement is extremely low, and people aren't as excited about Joe Biden than Donald Trump. So in New Hampshire, it's going to be a large combination of things that will lead Donald Trump to the win, specifically his record, Joe Biden's lack of substance as a candidate, and lastly, the Democratic Party fracturing that I believe Donald Trump will be able to pull ahead in New Hampshire. Now, if you look at Minnesota, I'm going to call Minnesota red again. It is the home state of one of the famous members of the squad, which is known as Rashida Tlaib. But Hillary Clinton barely won by 1.5%. Okay, and if you look at that, Donald Trump will do campaigning here. It's one of those northern states that he can win, like Wisconsin or Michigan, if he campaigns enough. And again, along with the fact that Joe Biden is a terrible candidate and the Democratic Party is fracturing and Trump's record, I believe more people will flock to Minnesota, and with these factors will help Donald Trump break the deadlock margin in Minnesota. So if you look at the total outcome, 216 to 319. Again, Donald Trump is gonna win. And if you consider Washington, D.C. In the factor, which I did not, the Democrats will lose by about 100 electoral votes. They're going to carry most of the traditionally blue states, but they're going to lose New Hampshire and Minnesota due to factors that I've just discussed. The Republicans will be able to carry all of the red states, swing states, and turn to blue states for Donald Trump's win. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe for more political content and talk-throughs. Thanks.